Hey everybody, welcome to Play, Rank, Share, the show where I cover the marquee PlayStation 5 titles, create an ever-evolving ranking of the best PS5 games, and share my opinions with you. My name is Tyrus, and this episode is focused on the PlayStation Studios. With the start of the new year, I thought now would be a good time to do a check-in and look at what the various PlayStation Studios are confirmed or rumored to be making. 2021 saw substantial growth to PlayStation, as Sony went out and acquired 5 new studios. In addition, already existing PlayStation studios are receiving significantly increased budgets in order to expand into multiple teams. This is frankly unprecedented growth for the brand, which only had acquired 2 new studios in the prior 10 years before 2021. As it currently stands, PlayStation now has 17 studios with over 25 games in development. In typical Play, Rank, Share fashion, I will rank the 15 studios that are actively making original games. Not included in this list is Nitz's, who is currently believed to be making PC ports, and Valkyrie Entertainment, who is doing support work on God of War Ragnarok. When I make this list again next year, I will include these studios if they are confirmed to be making original games, but as it stands right now, these studios would have just been at the bottom of the list regardless. Make sure to leave a comment below about which PlayStation studio is your favorite, and with that out of the way, let's get started. Starting from the bottom of the list, Pixel Opus has the smallest headcount amongst the PlayStation studios. Since its inception, the studio created Entwined in 2014 and Concrete Genie in 2019. Currently, we know that the studio has 1 game in development and that they are collaborating with Sony Pictures Animation Studio. This can mean 2 things: that Pixel Opus is working on a Sony animation IP like Mitchell's vs. the Machines, or it's just getting some help with cutscenes. I'm inclined to believe it's the latter option. While they are ranked at the bottom of the list, I think Pixel Opus has a lot of potential to make smaller, more unique experiences from the PlayStation studios. I'm very excited to see what this new game is, but I wouldn't expect it to release any sooner than late 2023. Media Molecule ranks at number 14 due to their inability to release a modern, impactful game. Dreams, which came out in 2020, was more of a game creator than a fully fleshed out game. The last full, proper video game from Media Molecule was Tearaway, which came to the Vita way back in 2013, and then a PS4 version in 2015. I'm not sure what the end goal of Dreams was, but it's been almost 2 years since the game came out, and it has yet to make an impact. Media Molecule has shown that they can create games that gush with creativity, and I hope their next endeavor features a focus back on gameplay and not on creation tools. Unfortunately, studio heads have recently said that their full focus is on Dreams, which hopefully means it's coming to PS5 and PC soon, but I yearn for the days when Media Molecule was making exciting games like LittleBigPlanet and Tearaway. Founded in 2002, London Studio has established itself as PlayStation's main studio for developing games that require a peripheral, and I have this niche studio ranked at number 13. Their games range from franchises across PlayStation history, including iToy games, the SingStar franchise, and the failed Wonder Book. More recently, London Studio released the acclaimed VR game Blood and Truth in 2019. It should be a given that London Studio is working on a game for PSVR 2, and I imagine we'll see this game showcased when the system gets a proper full reveal. There are rumblings that PlayStation wants to develop VR games that can also be played standalone as well, so it will be interesting to see if a headset is required to play this new game. Very recent tweets indicate that whatever London Studio is making, it will be an online experience. I think we should see London Studio's new game this year and expect it to come out sometime in 2023. Ironically enough, recently acquired Firesprite was founded by former Sony Liverpool employees in 2012 after the closure of the latter mentioned studio. Based on past releases, I think Firesprite is more about potential than what they have released so far, so I have it ranked as the 12th best PlayStation studio. Firesprite has not released any widely known titles, but has worked with PlayStation on development of the Playroom VR and mobile game Run Sackboy Run. More recently, this studio has made a PS4 and PSVR title The Persistence. This studio has over 250 employees and they're still hiring, so it looks like they have at least 3 projects in development. Job listings have been recruiting employees for 2 projects, one that is, quote, a game-changing huge multiplayer shooter, and another that is, quote, an ambitious dark narrative blockbuster adventure. They are also co-developing Horizon Call of the Mountain for PSVR 2. I think PlayStation clearly targeted Firesprite because they were impressed with the development of at least one of these 3 titles, and I expect the Horizon VR game will be the first project we see from Firesprite, likely in 2023. Rising from the ashes of the now defunct Japan studio is Team Asobi, which initially was a subdivision. Team Asobi is best known for the Astrobot franchise, which encompasses Astrobot Rescue Mission that launched in 2018, and Astro's Playroom that was a pack-in game with the PlayStation 5. I think it's clear that Asobi's focus will be on family-friendly titles, which appears to be a market that PlayStation is starting to pursue more aggressively. It wouldn't surprise me if Team Asobi has multiple projects in development, but for now, I think the next time we see them will be at the launch of PlayStation VR 2. Sony recently highlighted the new features that the VR 2 headset will have, and I expect a new game in the Astrobot universe will highlight these improvements. While nothing is confirmed, I expect the next game from Team Asobi to launch with PSVR 2 later in 2022, and in the meantime, I have it ranked at number 11 for PlayStation Studios. Ranking at number 10, Bend Studio appears to be in a rough spot. Their most recent game, Days Gone, had generated a decent following, but clearly failed to capture the zeitgeist of the gaming industry in a similar way to Horizon or Spider-Man. It has since been documented that PlayStation wasn't satisfied with the sales of Days Gone and rejected a pitch for the sequel. The studio was left in development limbo for a bit afterwards, but have since confirmed that they are now working on a new IP with an open-world setting. While Days Gone didn't resonate with me personally, their past title, Uncharted Golden Abyss, was my favorite Vita game. A lot of key talent at Bend Studio has left in the fallout of Days Gone, so I'm concerned about the current studio culture and the quality of their next game. Regardless, production of this new game only started in 2021, so I wouldn't expect this new game until 2025 at the earliest. The studio has proven they can make a big AAA game, and I just hope that they can now get on a consistent release schedule. Housemarque was a long collaborator with PlayStation before being acquired in 2021. This includes a long list of PlayStation Network games, most notably including Dead Nation, Matterfall, and my favorite, Resogun. Housemarque's breakout moment came in 2021 with their roguelite hit game Returnal, proving that the Finnish developer can make quality AAA games. PlayStation was obviously happy with the quality of Returnal as they outright bought the studio several weeks after launch. I do not think that Housemarque currently has the headcount to have multiple projects in development. They have around 80 employees last time I checked. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw Returnal DLC in 2022, but after that, I would expect a new experience from the studio that has high quality arcade gameplay mechanics. I would guess that the next game from Housemarque launches sometime in 2024, if not 2025. Polyphony Digital has been almost exclusively making Gran Turismo games for over 20 years now. It cannot be overstated how important Gran Turismo games were for PlayStation in the early era of these consoles. The series in total has sold over 80 million units, but recent entries have not sold as well. Since Gran Turismo has lost some of its luster, I have the studio currently ranked at number 8, the midpoint of PlayStation Studios. Hopefully, Gran Turismo 7 can be a turning point in the franchise and should deliver some of the best graphics we have seen yet on the PlayStation 5. In addition to Gran Turismo 7, I would expect there to be a VR version of Gran Turismo coming for PSVR 2. Gran Turismo 7 is coming to the PS5 on March 4th, and the VR version would most likely be coming sometime in 2023 or 2024. Bluepoint Games is the latest studio acquired by PlayStation, and perhaps is the best of the bunch. Bluepoint's claim to fame is through their remaking skills, as they have notably remade both Demon's Souls and Shadow of the Colossus, in addition to making the Nathan Drake collection. This studio has proven they can create high-quality remakes every 2 to 3 years, but it appears that they will start developing original content based on press releases stated when the studio was bought. More recent leaks suggest that Bluepoint is developing a PS5 version of Bloodborne, while also developing a sequel. Regardless of if Bluepoint is making a remake of Bloodborne or a different IP, I expect to see an announcement at some point in 2022 with a release date for 2023. If Bluepoint is also developing an original game, I wouldn't expect to see that for at least a few years. No other developer is able to make high-quality remakes as consistently as Bluepoint, leading me to rank them as the 7th best PlayStation studio. Previously known as 989 Sports, Sony San Diego now shepherds the lauded MLB The Show franchise. This has largely been the studio's focus for the past 15 years or so, while they have also provided assistance with developing free-to-play titles such as Guns Up and Drawn to Death during the PS4 generation. In 2021, MLB The Show came to Xbox consoles for the first time and released on Game Pass. I fully expect this to continue going forward, as MLB does not want to keep their premier game locked to one console. The show continues to be a critical and commercial hit for PlayStation year in and year out. I also think the studio is laser focused on the franchise, so I don't think they are assisting with small titles anymore. MLB The Show 2022 should be announced in the coming weeks and will launch later in the spring. San Diego is able to make a high-quality baseball game yearly that is consistently one of the best-selling games in America, which is why I rank them as number 6 on this list. Sutter Punch Productions finally had their breakout moment in 2020 with the release of Ghost of Tsushima. Delivering this Game of the Year quality game has led me to rank Sutter Punch at number 5. This open-world samurai game was one of my favorite PS4 games, and it is all but assured that they are developing a sequel. The real mystery is whether Sutter Punch is expanding into multiple development teams. PlayStation is investing heavily into expanding the size of first-party studios, but there hasn't been rumblings yet if Sutter Punch is a team destined to expand. This Seattle-based studio has worked on other famed IPs such as Sly Cooper and Infamous, so it remains to be seen if a smaller team is developing a new entry in one of those franchises. As of the Ghost of Tsushima sequel, it's likely years away, and I would bet it releases sometime in 2024. Located in Amsterdam, Guerrilla Games was acquired by PlayStation in 2005. Since then, they have spent significant time working on 5 different Killzone games before releasing the smash hit Horizon Zero Dawn in 2017. The hotly anticipated sequel, Horizon Forbidden West, will be launching next month and is the 2022 release I am looking forward to the most. The real mystery around Guerrilla is that they have clearly expanded to have at least a second team, as they hired the game director for Rainbow Six Siege way back in 2018. This second game is likely an online shooter based on the expertise of these hires, and I expect the game to be shown off soon following the release of Forbidden West and to come out in 2023. Out of the remaining studios to rank, I think Guerrilla Games does have the most to prove, which is why I rank them 4th. Just a few years ago, there was reason to be concerned that Santa Monica Studio would be shut down after their ambitious Untitled sci-fi project was cancelled and massive layoffs hit the studio. Santa Monica also used to incubate games and help smaller studios, leading to the release of indie hits like Journey, Fat Princess, and The Unfinished Swan. However, Santa Monica now focuses on the development of their own core games after releasing God of War in 2018 and revitalizing the franchise. The follow-up, God of War Ragnarok, will come out later this year and will be the conclusion of Kratos' journey through Norse mythology. But it is apparent Santa Monica is staffing up and hiring for a second development team. Director of God of War 2018, Cory Barlog, is not directing Ragnarok, and is leading me to believe that he is making a new team to create a new IP. Regardless, I wouldn't expect that game to release for a few years. The key for Santa Monica going forward is to consistently release the AAA blockbuster games, and I'm very confident they can achieve this with Cory Barlog at the head of the studio. Since I am so bullish on the future of Santa Monica, I've ranked them at number 3 amongst the PlayStation studios. Insomniac Games has made so many great experiences, it is hard for me to fit their accomplishments in just this rough minute of discussion. Insomniac was a longtime collaborator with PlayStation before being outright acquired in 2019. Their most notable contributions to the ecosystem include Ratchet & Clank, Resistance, and Spider-Man. The exciting thing about Insomniac is that they have so many development teams, and I think it's safe to assume they have 4 different games in the works. Most notable is Spider-Man 2, which is currently slated to come out in 2023. Additionally, the team that made Spider-Man Miles Morales is developing a Wolverine game, and I think this will come out in 2024. It's not announced what game the team that made Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is working on, but they are assuredly working on something, and a 4-year dev cycle would have their new game releasing in 2025. Finally, Insomniac recently sought to hire a game director for a multiplayer project, leaving me to believe they have another team building some kind of multiplayer-centric experience. This means Insomniac continues to be bursting at the seams with new content, and I didn't even mention or factor in their VR expertise. The only reason I don't have Insomniac ranked at number 1 for PlayStation Studios is that they have yet to produce a generation-defining experience, but there is certainly an argument that Insomniac is the best PlayStation studio since they release high-quality games almost yearly at this point. My pick for best PlayStation studio is Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog got their roots developing Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter, but they have really earned their reputation with the development of the Uncharted and Last of Us franchises. Barring Insomniac's insane level of production, Naughty Dog is also one of the most consistent teams in terms of game releases, as they have released 5 games and a remaster in the past decade. The most exciting part about the future of Naughty Dog is their expansion into multiple teams, which was recently confirmed. It's also fairly obvious what these teams look like. It is known a group at Naughty Dog is developing a remake to the original Last of Us that will come later this year. In addition, a separate team is making a new entry in the Last of Us Factions, the multiplayer mode behind the franchise. I expect Factions to be a full standalone game and also come out later this year. Obviously, there has to be a full new game in development at Naughty Dog, but it is early and not known whether it's a new Uncharted or Last of Us game, but I actually expect it to be a brand new IP. This next big franchise from Naughty Dog likely won't come until the end of the generation, maybe 2025 at the absolute earliest. I fully expect every Naughty Dog game to be a Game of the Year caliber game, and until they don't meet that criteria, they'll continue to rank as my top PlayStation studio. Thank you for watching this episode of Play, Rank, Share. Make sure to ring the bell to be notified when future episodes are released. Next up for Play, Rank, Share will be my predictions about what will happen in the PlayStation ecosystem in 2022. What's your favorite PlayStation studio? Make sure to leave a comment below, and until next time, don't stop sharing.